17.
Well, Bomber fans, almost 2 years ago to the day, Dustin Fletcher was preparing for game 400. I'm sure this week he's been spending a lot of time, Scotty, preparing for his appearance on the Friday footy panel. Let's get Fletch in. Looks like he might have stopped off by the Colonial Brewing Company on the way, Fletch.
Oh, good. The cider?
Oh, I get the cider.
Jules likes the cider, and I'm the draft.
Welcome, Fletch. What's your beer of choice? You a lager man, a pale ale?
Oh, pretty much any, to be honest. But
Cold beer.
Yeah, got nice cold beer. I enjoy a draft beer, and enjoy them.
Was game 400, was it a memorable night for you, or you got injured, you never played again, the team lost? How do you look back on that night?
Oh, probably it wasn't a real good night, to be honest.
Gone down the positive part.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I think
it was a bad night in the stands.
Yeah, we got done by about 10 or 12 points, I think, or 13 points, and I probably went into the game feeling pretty good, but groins had been a little bit sore, coming into the season, and I think I put my hand up just after half time. I said to Herdy, I'm a bit sore. I'm not sure how I'll go. Came out, and then that was it for me. So I think I got subbed off in my 400th game, which probably doesn't look too good.
Did you realise when you walked off that night you might not play again? Did you realise the groin was that bad?
Oh, not really. It had been dagging me for a long time, and you know what it's like. It probably really needed sort of 4 or 5 weeks off. You didn't really have the time in the bank to do that, and I probably, to be honest, didn't really want to go back and hit it out in the twos and do all that type of stuff. So, in a way, walking off, there was a bit of an inkling it nearly could have been my last.
What are you up to now, Fletch? I'm sure all our loyal listeners will be keen to know.
Yeah, I'm heading up to the school after this. They've got a big game against Assumption College. The luncheon starts at 12, so I'm up there trying to plot a win there and get the boys over the line. So doing a bit of the school footy, bit of development with the year 7 to 10s, obviously doing a little bit here at the club, off field, and at the moment that's about it, but enjoying it.
Now, it is true that you chose to play for the school all those years ago instead of playing a senior game?
Yeah, that's right, and I suppose, Dad was coach at the time, and a lot of people think, Dad sort of made the decision, but I was a little bit different. My first year at Essendon, I signed up to actually play school footy for 8 games and 10 games of reserves footy, so that changed a little bit early in the year. So I felt like I probably owed the schoolmates, maybe one game, and it all sort of worked out pretty well. I think we beat Ivanhoe the day I played my school game, and I missed a Fitzroy game, so that sort of shows how far we're going back.
It's amazing, that, isn't it? When you think about it now, a player that was a regular senior player missing for a school game.
How would you be? What position at school?
Did you win that game?
Yeah, we won. We did win, but I played mainly centre half back actually at school.
How'd you be the centre, the skinny centre half forward comes out, and the week before your opponents played on Stephen Kernahan or someone?
Yeah, no, it was a big day.
Actually, give up.
Yeah, well, the guy I played on for Ivanhoe actually played a few reserve games somewhere along the line, so he's actually a pretty good player. But copped a fair bit of flack from probably both sides with that decision, but. That was that, and I think I only played one or two games in the VFL, and actually I think Sheeds probably didn't like the decision, and I got dropped the following week.
Okay, I was going to say, how was Sheeds received? Was it you make the decision, son, or?
Yeah, it pretty was, and I probably made the decision,
but
so I played the reserve game the following week, I think against Melbourne, and then after that it was pretty much go from then.
Was there any game where Essendon actually took precedence, where you were playing seniors and then it was, well, we can't go back and play school footy now?
I think after that, when I did play that one game, I felt like that, Essendon was starting to sort of kick along, and the year of the baby bombers, and a few of the young guys were playing well, so we started to win a few games obviously at Essendon, and it started ticking along, and then it made the decision was pretty easy.
Now, Scotty, a man we know really well, Johnny Ralph, this week. And for those that don't know, Johnny Ralph is a Richmond supporter, so that might give some background. He said Alex Rance might be the best fullback of all time. So, for one, he's obviously gotten Fletcher's career already. But this week, Rance versus Joe Danaher is really interesting. From Joe's point of view, what sort of things does he need to do to get on top of a player like Alex Rance?
Oh, well, and I think, Joe's got one or two real good things he's got in favour playing Rance with regard to, no doubt, his height and his ability to sort of stretch and take some, real strong marks above his head. I think he's got to get on his bike and really start moving as well. I think when I played, even when I played on Joey, I felt it hard. I felt really hard when I actually went to spoil, because his arms are sort of so long and he's so tall. A lot of the times you were sort of chopping arms. So I think that's going to be a big one for Joey. If he can get on his bike and take some marks and move him around, he'll go well.
And what we've also seen with Joey is how good he is on the deck.
Yep.
And Rant's very good at defending the high ball, no doubt about it. But that may be another area that Joey has an advantage in. If the ball hits the deck, geez, cat-like, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. And I've sort of watched a little bit of footy, but the ball sort of even hasn't been coming in a real lot to Joey, and he's still been kicking goals and taking marks. So that's a pretty good sign. If you get some more ball in there, you know what he can do.
What about down the other end? I mean, you played a lot of footy with Michael Hurley, and his last year that you played with him, he was an All-Australian. But his last month has been outstanding. Have you seen Michael play better than he is right now?
No, I don't think I have. And I think with Hurls, and what I've liked about him probably from the start, I think he's a natural footballer. Whether it's forward or back, I just think that. And I found, when I was playing on opposition players, if they're natural footballers, they're harder to play on because they just know the game. And I watch Hurls when he runs and when he moves. He sort of cuts a lot of corners and doesn't really go when he only really goes when he has to. And but he's playing well, real well.
Yeah, isn't he? And I think to Ralphie's point, Hurls makes a great case. He's right alongside Rance, and what he does do, where I think differs from Rance, is his creativity and his ball use at half back. Like, he sets up so much play, and you're spot on, he just reads it so well, a bit like Fletch did years ago. He made other backmen around him better because of his ability to direct them to the right position, and Hurls is doing that each week.
Sounds a bit like Meet the Press, but Robbo wrote last week too about Cale Hooker. He thinks he's still better in the back line for the Bombers. What have you made of Cale as a forward, and how important is his role, do you think, to making Joe and some of the other forwards even better players?
Yeah, to be honest, in your ideal world, I think Hooksy will be, your centre half back, full back. But in saying that, I said at the start of the year, Hooksy is one of those ones that I did play on at training a lot as well, and a very good mark. So I think the role he's playing is exceptional. I think he's kicked 2 or 3 goals, most weeks.
Yeah,
so
he's averaging about 2 a game.
Yeah, so the role he's doing has been fantastic, but. Again, he's probably is a backman, but at the moment the role he's playing for the team and what he's doing, to help Joe, he gets a good defender on him each week as well. So, but I still see him, if he can play this year out and kick his, 30, 35 goals, whatever it might be, he's definitely doing his role.
As you mentioned, sorry, Scotty.
I would have just thought Hooksy's best position's down back, but I think it's a selfless act, isn't it, to be playing up forward to just get the balance right.
Yeah. As you said, you're back doing some stuff for the clubs. You're at a lot of games. How are you feeling personally when you're in the stands watching the games? Are you missing it at all? How are you feeling?
I don't miss one bit, being out there running around and knowing that, even that feeling the night before and during the week where you feel, nervous, you want to play well. I haven't missed that, that part of it. But in the stands watching, and even, a couple of functions I go to, I still get quite nervous. More for the fact that, up there all I can do is barrack and cheer. So, but still get very nervous, and you want to see him win. You barrack hard, but for the playing sort of part of it, nah, not one bit.
That's nice.
He's had a fair run.
You play 400. It's a fair run.
Time to put the feet up.
And what about this game in particular? I mean, Anzac Day began in '95 and became massive. 10 years later, the dream time started. You would have played in most of them. How big is it? Have you got a specific memory from one of the games that you played in?
I love Dreamtime, and obviously it's, I think, with some of the Aboriginal boys that I've played with, and probably starting off my career with Michael Long, someone who I obviously look up to and was an absolute champion player. But probably the one I do remember was, it was the year, a few years ago now, when Matthew Richardson had the chance to kick the winning goal. And
from memory.
I think Mal Michael might have been playing on him, and it was when the rule came in with the push in the back. So he probably took a reasonable mark, to be honest. Turned round, and I'm not sure if he slotted.
I think he kicked a goal.
I think he slotted the goal. So that was one I do remember. But big games, obviously Damien Hardwick there, and with Rewalt, it's a massive game, and I think they'll get, I reckon they'll get 85, 90,000 there, which will be fantastic.
Now, speaking of that, you guys know Damien Hardwick really well. It's been a tough couple of weeks, those last minutes. How would he handle what's happened to them in the last couple of weeks? And look, Richmond's always a bit almost a laughing stock when it comes to these sort of losses. Would he use that at all with his players?
Well, he'd handle it very differently than he would have handled it as a player, because he'd crack the sads and throw the baby out of the cot. Look, I think you've just got to focus on the other 119 minutes of those games and how well they've played. Work on those areas and move on really quickly. It's such an even comp. It's such a tough comp that if you dwell on those losses, you'll spend a lot of time worrying about that instead of focusing on your next opponent and the next chance to win. He would be hoping, as I'm sure in a strange way that the players would hope, to get into that position as quickly as possible again and have a chance to correct it and fix it up.
Now, Fletcher's still a very popular man on Twitter. We'll get to your question shortly, but it's almost another member of the Fletcher family that everyone's interested in. Young Mason. How's he going?
He's been going all right. He's at school footy for the next probably sort of 6 weeks, so he's had 4 or 5 school games. He'll probably play his next 5 or 6 at school, and then he'll be back up in the under-18s for Calder. So, he's a big boy, 6 foot, probably 6'6". I think the bigger ones these days probably take a little bit longer to develop. But he's going all right. He's playing down back. He got shifted into the ruck last week against Mentone, but he's got a bit of improvement to do. There's no doubt about that. But he's going along okay, and fingers crossed he heads in the right direction.
Resemblance is uncanny. Have you seen any vision of him playing?
I've seen him play live. Yep. His composure in the back half, very similar. Saw him, he had 3 guys around him. He went one way, went the other way, and just got a nice little pass out to the side.
Do you find it hard talking about him? Because obviously everyone wants to ask you about it, but we know, like Tim and Job, they find it hard to talk. How do you find it?
Yeah, I'm probably a bit like Tim, to be honest. I sort of, let him do it.
It's not something you want to talk about,
not really, but you sort of, you can't dodge it. And as I said, I'm not going to pump him up too much or put him down too much. I stay pretty level. And as I said to him, or both my boys, whether you're playing at Aberfeldy, whether you're playing, in Ballarat, when you're playing at Essendon, I'll be there to watch every week. So I don't put any pressure on him. Gets a lot of it from outside, but you do hope for your best for your kids. And if he plays AFL, so be it. If he doesn't, so be it as well.
And finally, what about the team for the rest of the year? 5 and 4. It's an incredibly even competition. We were talking before about dealing with some expectation, which is growing when you have wins like the last couple of weeks. What's achievable for the rest of the year, do you think, for this group?
I think the season's actually going pretty well. I think, you look at this, 5 and 4. I think, 11 wins and a bit of percentage is going to be important. So it was great to see the boys on the weekend really kick a good score and good winning score. The percentage went up a little bit, so. But they're all big games. This, we obviously won 2 games, 2 in a row. This would be a special one against Richmond to go 3 in a row. But good year. It's going to be. I'm really looking forward to the rest of the season, because it's. I always said at the start that the boys from are going to gel probably after about round 10 or 11, the second half of the year. So I'm hopeful that they can go well and get their chance to play finals. But I'll watch for the next few weeks and hope they do.
Final thoughts on Saturday night, Scotty?
The boys should win.
Should win?
Should win. Yeah, I think particularly, and we talk about expectation, their form the last 2 weeks has been very, very good, and they need to bring that tomorrow night. Still respecting Richmond, are in decent form, just stuffed up the last couple of minutes of those games. But now, these are, if you have expectations or want to play finals, you need to win these games.
Would be nice though to just get over the line by a couple of points again. Really rub
last
it in.
Kick of the night.
Yeah, last kick of the night. But we'll hope for a couple of goal win, I reckon.
And Bomber fans, are reminded, it's always a huge game, not Essendon's home game this week, but still the long walk. Get to Fed Square from 12 o'clock. The walk starts at 4, and just keep walking and go to Punt Road and watch the VFL, which also starts at 4 p.m. Hoping for 90,000 on Saturday night. Let's outnumber the Richmond Army as well, even though it's an away game. Fletch, thanks so much for stopping in. Great to see you back at the club, and enjoy the rest of the season. Watch the Bombers. Scotty, hopefully for another big one Saturday night.
Yes, I think so.
And Bomber fans, thanks for your time, and we look forward to next week on the Friday Footy panel.